follow what Jesus has given them. He says, and he almost sighs. You can almost hear him sigh in between, how long am I to bear with you? And this is going to be a teaching moment. He says, bring him to me. And so in verse 20, and they brought the boy to him, and when the Spirit saw him, just from the Spirit seeing him, immediately it convulsed the boy and fell onto the ground and rolled about, foaming at the mouth. Now, remember that there's a big crowd. This is becoming an intense moment where the crowd is watching this boy convulsing. He's almost seizing, in a word, and everyone is standing there watching this happen. And Jesus asked the father, quite calmly, I'd imagine, because the boy is seizing, and Jesus, just without doing anything, he says, ask the father, how long has this been happening to him? And the father replied, from childhood. And it is, verse 22, and it is often cast him into fire and water to destroy him, but if you can do anything, have compassion on us and help us. Now, the compassion is a special word. The Greek root for it is actually splachna, which the literal translation for that is guts. Not guts like guts and glory. It's more of a guts as in like your guts will turn. Your guts turn, and he wants him to feel. He wants Jesus to feel what he feels, for it is his only son that has this spirit within him. And remember that this is an intense scene. His son is still sitting there convulsing. And Jesus almost mocks him with his response. He goes, if you can, for all things are possible for one who believes. Jesus goes, if you can, like the Father is questioning Jesus. But all things are possible for one who believes. I mean, that's, if there's a memory verse to memorize today, that's the verse to memorize. All things are possible for one who believes. The scene continues. Immediately, the father of the child cried out. You can imagine him just shouting. He's trying to get Jesus to save his son. His son is still convulsing, and we're still going through this, and yet Jesus remains calm. He cries out, and said, I do believe. Help my unbelief. And that may be confusing. I believe, but I don't believe. Many of us, I'm sure, and including me, believe that Jesus can do, but part of us, deep down thinks, maybe this is for me. Maybe this isn't for me. Maybe he'll do it. Maybe he won't. He's asking to help his unbelief and just carry out his belief. And when Jesus saw that crowd came running together, and he rebuked the unclean spirit, saying to it, you mute and deaf spirit, I command you to come out of him and never enter him again. So not only does he command him to come out of it, but he tells him never come in again. He can't, he won't, because Jesus has rebuked it. Verse 26, and after crying out and convulsing him terribly, it came out, and the boy was like a corpse, so much so that most of them said he was dead. The body, the spirit had left. He tried to fight. It says, and after crying out and convulsing him terribly, the demon was trying to fight Jesus, but could not. It says, the boy was like a corpse. Most of them thought he was dead. However, but Jesus took him by the hand and lifted him up, and he arose. So the boy was perfectly alive, and he was able to speak, and the demon was gone. Well, when Jesus walked back to his disciples, verse 28 goes, and when he had entered the house, his disciples, remember the powerful chosen disciples that could not cast the demon away, asked him privately, why could we not cast it out? They were powerful. They had healing powers. They were chosen to do things like this in the name of God, and yet they could not. And they wonder. They are curious. Why can we not? So here's where our point lies today. So listen here, verse 29. Back to what we had talked about in the beginning. He says, "And he said to them, this cannot be driven out by anything but." This answer is just as simple as putting a bolt on the right way. For many of us who have been Christians for many of you for many of you who have been Christians for a long time, knowledgeable in praying and in your faith. Prayer should come first. Putting on a bolt forward should come first. But that's not always what the answer is. So I want to emphasize that prayer really is the answer. If you came in this morning, maybe thinking that you have a problem that nobody can fix, you've gone to your friends, you've gone to your, quote unquote disciples. Have you gone to God? Have you taken that to Him? I should have known how to change the tire, like I said, but I didn't. Simple distractions like some freeway, a police officer, some kids, simple life distractions distracted me from the simplest of things. And simple life distractions can stray us away from the simplest of prayers. So why do we do prayer last? Why is it when nothing else works? Why is it not the first thing that we try? So I ask you guys this morning, or in fact I challenge you to pray first this week, to pray first this month, pray first this year. And if you do, Matt could leave a mark. So that is it.